All right, imagine this. Capitol Hill, lights, cameras, and the head of NPR, Catherine Maher, is in the hot seat. Now, this isn't your average boring hearing. This one turns into a verbal cage match, all about race, reparations, and whether your tax dollars are funding activism, not journalism. Let's watch the heated exchange. Then I will follow up with some review of what went down and you won't want to skip.
Gill.
Thank you, Chairwoman Green, and I apologize. I'm getting over a cold, so I'm losing my voice here. Ms. Maher, I want to start with you. Just generally, would you say you generally agree or disagree with the following statement? The history of all hitherto existing society is the history of class struggles?
I would not say I agree with that, sir.
You're not. That's good to hear. It's interesting because a lot of your thinking, as expressed by your public statements, is deeply infused with economic and cultural Marxism. Do you believe that America is addicted to white supremacy?
I believe that I tweeted that, and as I've said earlier, I believe much of my thinking has evolved over the last half-decade.
It has evolved. Why did you tweet that?
I don't recall the exact context, sir, so I wouldn't be able to say.
Okay. Do you believe that America believes in black plunder and white democracy?
I don't believe that, sir.
You tweeted that in reference to a book you were reading at the time, apparently, The Case for Reparations.
I don't think I've ever read that book, sir.
You tweeted about it. You said you took a day off to fully read The Case for Reparations. You put that on Twitter in January of 2020.
I apologize. I don't recall that I did.
Okay.
I'd no doubt that your tweet there is correct, but I don't recall that.
Okay. Do you believe that white people inherently feel superior to other races?
I do not.
You don't? You tweeted something to that effect. You said, I grew up feeling superior. Ha, how white of me. Why did you tweet that?
I think I was probably reflecting on what it was to grow up in an environment where I had lots of advantages.
It sounds like you're saying that white people feel superior.
I don't believe that anybody feels that way, sir. I was just reflecting on my own experiences.
Do you think that white people should pay reparations?
I've never said that, sir.
Yes, you did. You said it in January of 2020. You tweeted, yes, the North, yes, all of us, yes, America, yes, our original collective sin and unpaid debt, yes, reparations, yes, on this day.
I don't believe that was a reference to fiscal reparations, sir.
What kind of reparations was it a reference to?
I think it was just a reference to the idea that we all owe much to the people who came before us.
That's a bizarre way to frame what you tweeted. Okay, how much reparations have you personally paid?
Sir, I don't believe that I've ever paid reparations.
Okay, it's just for everybody else.
I'm not asking anyone
Seems
to pay
to be what you're
reparations, sir.
suggesting. Do you believe that looting is morally wrong?
I believe that looting is illegal, and I refer to it as counterproductive. I think it should be prosecuted.
Do you believe
to the
it's
full extent of the
morally
law.
wrong, though?
Of course.
Of course. Then why did you refer to it as counterproductive? It's a very different way to describe it.
It is both morally wrong and counterproductive, as well as being
You
illegal.
tweeted, it's hard to be mad about protests in reference to the BLM protests, not prioritizing the private property of a system of oppression. You didn't condemn the looting. You said that it was counterproductive. NPR also promoted a book called In Defense of Looting. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
I'm unfamiliar with that book, sir, and I don't believe that was at my
You
time at
tweeted
NPR.
that you read that book, but
I don't believe that I did read that book, sir.
do you think that a few years ago NPR educated America about, quote, the whole community of genderqueer dinosaur enthusiasts? Do you think that that's an appropriate use of tax dollars?
I was not at NPR at the time, sir.
That's not the question, though. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of our tax dollars?
I think our tax dollars that we use are to be able to provide a wide range of
So I'll take that as a yes. You do believe that that's appropriate. Your health advisor at NPR also stated in an interview that, quote, fear of fatness is more harmful than actual fat. Would you like to explain how fear of fatness is more harmful than actual fat? That's an editorial at NPR.
I am not familiar with the editorial, and I don't believe that was published during my time here.
It's called Diet Culture is Everywhere. Here's how to fight it. Do you think that that's an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars?
I think any reporting on health is an appropriate use of taxpayer dollars, yes.
And you think that editorializing that fat is not unhealthy is appropriate?
I don't know what that article is, sir, and I'm not familiar with it, so I
This
couldn't
is
say.
fake news. Do you think that basic accommodations like doorways or seat belts represent, quote, latent fat phobia?
I don't have an opinion.
It's
on that,
also
sir.
from NPR. Do you think civility is racist?
No, sir.
No. Your outlet ran an article entitled, quote, "When Civility is Used as a Cudgel Against People of Color." That was on All Things Considered. Would you like to explain?
I'm not on the editorial side, sir. I'm not familiar with that story.
You talk about how NPR is news. This is editorialization, and I'll read it. For many people of color in the United States, civility isn't so much social lubricant as it is a vehicle for containing them, preventing social mobility, and preserving the status quo. This is garbage. I'll spend all of my time doing everything I can to ensure you guys never get another dollar of taxpayer funding. This is complete garbage. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Gill. I now recognize
Reporter Brandon Gill kicks it off with a haymaker. Does the NPR CEO agree with Marxist ideas about class struggle? Maher calmly says, no, but Gill's just getting warmed up. He starts reading Maher's old tweets, and they're pretty spicy. According to Gill, they drip with Marxist and racial ideology. Maher shoots back. She says her thinking has evolved. The tweets are old and hey, context matters. But Gill keeps pressing. He highlights tweets where Maher called America addicted to white supremacy and seemed to support reparations. He wants a straight answer. Is she still behind those beliefs? Maher says she doesn't remember the context, denies believing white people are inherently superior, and, here's the headline, says she's never personally paid reparations. That's when Gill asks point blank, how much reparations have you personally paid? Maher, none. It's tense, awkward, and, honestly, a little revealing. Then, the conversation shifts to the summer of 2020 BLM protests, riots, looting. Gill accuses Maher of being soft on crime, pointing out a tweet where she called looting counterproductive instead of flat-out wrong. Maher pushes back, looting is illegal, it's wrong, and it should be prosecuted. But Gill's not letting go. He brings up NPR's coverage, including a piece literally called In Defense of Looting, and questions if taxpayer money should be paying for that. And it doesn't stop there. Gill runs through NPR stories on gender identity, fat phobia, and health, basically saying these are not just news, but ideological editorials. Maher distances herself. She says she wasn't involved. NPR covers a wide range, and that's what public media is supposed to do. But the final clash? That's about an NPR segment suggesting that civility is used as a weapon against people of color. Gill reads from the piece on the record, calls it propaganda, and says it's complete garbage. He wraps it up with a promise. He'll fight to cut NPR's funding, claiming it's crossed the line from journalism to activism. Look, this hearing wasn't just about a few old tweets. It was about who gets to shape the news you hear, whether public media is accountable, and if it still reflects the values of the people who pay for it. Gill says NPR's gone rogue. Maher says it's big, complex, and always changing. Either way, this fiery exchange has put the debate over media bias and public funding right back in the spotlight. If you want more straight-to-the-point breakdowns of moments like this, hit subscribe and stay tuned.